Hi, this is Ian Franklin. I'm the founder of Infusion 55, and this is another one of our In Conversation With that we have a series of within Infusion 55. And today, absolutely delighted to have my guest, who is Lucy J. Parker. Now, Lucy is known to quite a few people in the real estate industry. She's the CEO of the Lucy J. Parker Real Estate, based out in Dubai. But bringing you on board, Lucy, with this conversation, can you just explain to us who you are? What
Absolutely.
is Lucy Parker? Why did you end up in Dubai?
Absolutely. How long have you got?
As
I've
long
got
as you need.
a long while, Lucy. So yeah, I mean, quite rightly, I've lived here in Dubai for the last 14 years. And before that, I was next door in Oman for 6 years. So I've been in the Gulf 20 years, Ian, and the whole time selling real estate. So first in Oman and then here in the UAE, Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Ras Al Khaimah. And in terms of who am I? Well, before that, and apart from that, I am absolutely an avid adventurer and traveler, and actually currently on a mission to see every country in the world. So just got back from a trip to see four more new countries. So yeah, absolutely. I think what I love about real estate in this part of the world is I'm literally speaking to clients from every country on the planet, which is built inside me. It's what I love doing. I love mixing with people and connecting and, finding solutions. And the people that are generally I'm speaking to that are looking to move to Dubai or invest here in this region are looking for options and alternatives for a better lifestyle from the West or from wherever. And that, works very closely with what I looked for myself. So I just feel like I'm the right person to be able to help hold people's hand through the process and why move here. And also, in another part that's very important about my background that people should know is that I have lived all over the world. So I was brought up in the South Pacific until I was 8 in Vanuatu and Fiji. I've also lived for a couple of years in Central America, in Costa Rica and Honduras. So I do speak Spanish. Lived in Europe, so in France and Spain. And yes, of course, I speak French as well. As well as living a little bit of time in Denmark and then here 20 years in the Gulf and my schooling years in the UK in Surrey from 8 to 18. So, I have lived on four continents and I've I've been very lucky to travel the world. So again, when I'm speaking to people that want to move here and are global and international, I do feel like I can relate. So I hope that answers your question and, can introduce me a little bit to people.
Superb answer. Thank you very much. And there's a lot of what you've just said there also relates to, and we'll come back to it later anyway, to some
Sure.
of the volunteering work that you've done also over the years.
Okay.
But as I say, we'll come back to that later. But let's just flip back to Dubai and Abu Dhabi as well, because
Sure.
that's basically down the road from Dubai.
It is. Yeah.
But why Dubai? What's so special about it?
Oh gosh. Well, firstly, I have to say that for me, having just come back from being traveling, I feel so safe here. And I mean, everyone talks about how safe it is in Dubai, but it genuinely is true. Like I can walk around in the middle of the night in a park on my mobile phone and I don't look behind me. I have my money on me, my phone's out. I don't feel unsafe. And where in the world can you feel like that, Ian? It's very unique. It really is. I mean, maybe Japan, I was just at that, but there's nowhere else. Certainly not the UK, definitely not the USA, and as to Asia or South America, absolutely not. You'd be fearing for your life. So safety is really important in this day and age. And the other thing, of course, is the obvious answer, which is tax free. So for many Brits, especially, a lot of Brits are my clients, when you're paying sort of 30-40% tax in the UK for services that you're promising you're not necessarily getting, and people that are earning very, very well predominantly have really hustled and grafted their entire life for that money. And then they look back and they think, well, I've done all this, and now I'm having my own family, and I'm bringing them up in an environment where they don't I don't feel safe. They're not safe. I'm not getting all the benefits. So why would I be paying tax? And that is driving the ultra wealthy to this part of the world because they want a better life. And quite frankly, why don't they deserve that? That's how they look at it. And I mean, I've got, examples of clients I can give you. One client, one couple family, they were living in the south of France, actually very close to Dodi Al Fayed's old house, just above the hills in Saint-Tropez. Very,
Okay.
very, very wealthy, self-made multi-millionaire. He's British, she is French. Two young boys, and they own Ferraris, and she has beautiful clothes and handbags and shoes. And they said that their house was broken into twice. They had people scratching their Ferraris. And, he's like, I've worked all my life. I think he was 66. I've worked all my life for this lifestyle, and I don't even feel like I can enjoy it. So at least I can come to Dubai with my young family, and we can enjoy the fruits of my labor, if you like. So and that's a common theme, to be fair. The other thing as well is, and I don't want to sort of cause any uproar by people watching this, but there's a lot to be said about the traditional society here in the Middle East in terms of, again, I have families that are fed up with, the latest woke system in the British education system and also Europe, and they just want to bring up their children in the same environment that they had or we had when we were brought up, 40, 50, 60 years ago. So that's very key as well, believe it or not. That's actually driving people here, just that alone, the system, the educational system. So we've predominantly got safety, we've got tax-free, we've got the educational system, and then there's the obvious ones like the sunshine pretty much all year round. I'd say we have 2 weeks of rain and grey sky a year. And a lot of us North Europeans are fed up with the awful weather, me included. And then, you've got other things like logistically, we are literally in the center of the world. From this hub, from the Gulf, you can literally go either any direction, north to Europe, south to Africa, east to Asia, west over to the US. And I mean, they say the statistic is that 70% of the world is within 7 hours flight of us. And you certainly can't say that from the UK. You can't say that from the US, or Far East. So, that is obviously why, Dubai and Abu Dhabi have become such great aviation hubs. Um, and then, if I was to carry on, then I would say the next best thing, and it's really, really more apparent by the day, is the global talent pool here. I mean, the best of the best, the best in tech. We've got all the tech guys from India, and then we've got all of the AI and the systems from China coming in and Asia. But we're still close enough to Europe for, to be near all the financial institutions. And yes, North America is further away on a flight and time zones, but it's not impossible either, especially with the great Emirates Airlines these days. So I do feel that those are the main reasons why my clients are calling me and speaking to me about moving to Dubai. Yeah, I mean, there's other smaller reasons, but they're the predominant ones.
And of course, you have one of the greatest hotels in the world, of course,
Well, yes.
the
I mean,
Burj Al
not, yeah,
Arab.
exactly. Well,
Mm.
well, that's actually just closed down, believe it or not, for renovation for 18 months.
Has it?
And
Right.
yeah, and it was, just so you know, because I know people are going to be thinking, oh, well, we know why that was closed down. It wasn't closed down because of the conflict, because everybody says that. I actually happen to know, because I'm part of the beach club there, that they were planning to close that down from last summer. And I don't know why it got delayed. So, but yeah, I mean, that has been in need of a revamp for quite a while, because it's, iconic, but it's 26 years old now. So
Mm.
27 years old. So yeah, so that's just closed down right
It's one
now.
of the main images that people have in their mind of Dubai, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And we've now got really great hotels. So, the Royal Atlantis, also right next to the Burj Al Arab. It's less known, but I would say it's the best hotel in the city, which is the Masa Al Arab. So it literally looks straight at the Burj Al Arab. It's on that beach right there by the sea. That's the best hotel I believe in Dubai today. But yeah, I mean, it's iconic. But yeah, our hotels, our malls, our beaches. And we do actually have a lot of other things to do, believe it or not. People think there's nothing to do except hotels, beaches, and malls. But we have got the mountains up in Ras Al Khaimah. We've got the beautiful mangroves that you can kayak through in Abu Dhabi. To be fair, Abu Dhabi has been such a secret for so long, but the beaches in Abu Dhabi, I think, are way better than Dubai. There's a lot more islets and islands and coves in Abu Dhabi, and that coastline going down there is absolutely superb. So, yeah, there's a lot more to do than people think.
You kind of preempted my next question to you, actually,
Okay.
is, what is
Yeah.
really the difference between the two?
Sure. Well, believe it or not, so obviously for those watching, the country is called the United Arab Emirates, and the Emirates are seven Emirates. Now, believe it or not, the capital of the UAE is Abu Dhabi. It is not Dubai. And people don't know that because Dubai has obviously featured in the media for so long, and Abu Dhabi has kept behind in the shadows. But Abu Dhabi is actually where the government sits. It's where the major decisions obviously are all made, and it is the wealthier of all the Emirates. So it's also where all the financial institutions are based and opening up more and more. And predominantly, most of the family offices are set up in Abu Dhabi. Now, that's not to say Dubai doesn't have the financial institutions, and we have our own financial center, the DIFC, which is very, very strong here. But that's an essentially for those watching who may not be familiar. Also, Abu Dhabi is only 45 minutes to an hour down the road. It's most well known probably for having the Formula One that we have at the end of November. But what is really exciting is Disney World is coming. And Disney World, when it comes to the Gulf, I don't doubt will be better than anything we've ever seen in the world. So today, there's really only Disneyland in Florida, sorry, in LA, Disney World in Florida, and then you've got Euro Disney in Paris. So this is, going to be iconic. And if you look at the world map here, and if you think about it, we're next to all of Asia and India and all of Africa. It's a long way for them to travel to go to the US or to come to Europe, and it's very hard for them to get visas to those countries to even visit. So the visitor numbers that are expected for this Disney World are far going to surpass those of any of the others to date. So that is why Abu Dhabi is coming on the map fast for that and the family offices.
What will be interesting also with Disney World appearing there is, of course, like major developments such as that, it
Yeah.
creates new business. But what is
Yeah.
Dubai itself like for somebody who wants to start up in business?
Oh, it's so pro entrepreneurs and new business. It's untrue. I mean, you can set up a business here in literally one day. There's various platforms that they'll do your business account. You can have like an actual visa within hours. You can have an influencer visa. You can have a digital nomad visa. You can have a retiree visa, as well as, like a business owner visa, or you can even get a visa, obviously, for buying real estate. So they're very, very pro entrepreneurs. There's all sorts of platforms and startup like incubator companies if you want to work, on through their offices and with their systems as well. And there's a lot of training here, and we have so many conferences and summits that like I would say, AI here is probably more advanced than anywhere on the planet now. Like our government aims to be completely AI led within the next 2 years. I mean, we're already digital as it is, and I think, I don't see any other country in the world being as digital as we are in terms of, when we come through customs, immigration, when I get my mobile phone, I don't need to pay fines or anything because everything's linked from my car registration online straight through to we call it a UAE pass, which is a link on our phones, and that's connected to our IDs. Same for our gas bit, petrol bill, not petrol, electricity and mobile phone bills. So it's just really, really advanced. Whereas, I mean, I haven't lived in the UK to be fair for 20 years now, but what I remember about the UK is it's still very much, bills and you receive it every month and it doesn't all seem to be connected up to everything you do. I don't know. I might be wrong.
Hmm. There is one thing that's going on, of course, down in the region, this conflict, for want
Yes.
of a better term. Now, here in the UK, we've seen pictures on the news of what's happening down there, of course. But what is it really like there at the moment?
Well, it's absolutely fine. I mean, look, when the conflict started on the 28th of February, I'll be very honest with you, the first missile that we actually heard, like nobody expected it. I mean, I was just sat there getting on with my day. I think it was a weekend. And I don't know if you've ever been in an earthquake, and you don't know what an earthquake feels like, but the first time you feel it, you kind of think that's an earthquake, right? But no one's ever tr shown you what it is. Well, it was the same for me. I mean, no one imagines they're ever going to be in a war zone, shall we say, or in a situation where there's missiles coming over your head. But there I was sat, and I heard this bang, and it was absolutely a missile being intercepted. And I didn't know what to think. But then your telephones, we got text message alerts from the UAE government saying, please stay indoors and remain, in safety. And then about 20 minutes later, we got another message saying everything is safe, feel free to come out and there's no more threats. So we lived with that for about 5 weeks. Now, we didn't have a missile being intercepted every hour. It wasn't like that. It was probably, for the first few days, I would say perhaps I heard two or three bangs a day, if that. Um, but, sometimes I heard an alert, but there was no bang. So we had an alert to go to safety, but then we didn't hear anything. And it wasn't every day, it was perhaps every 3 days. So I think, in terms of the media and the news and what you saw online, I I think what happened was a lot of people got freaked out because they saw the Fairmont Hotel on the Palm, right? I know that was like a pivotal moment for a lot of people, especially tourists, because we all know the Palm Jumeirah. We all love and know these hotels along there. So what happened with that was that a missile was intercepted, and this is what's happened with every single time when there has been like a fire or something, is that the interception happens way up in the atmosphere, and the shrapnel that comes down may have caught light, just like, a firework that maybe
Yeah.
caught light when it landed. And so that happened to catch fire right in the front sort of car park valet area of the Fairmont Hotel on the Palm. And there was a fire and people took pictures, which they shouldn't have done. And of course, that landed on all the international press that, oh my God, there's a hotel that's been, bombed, etc., etc. So, obviously it was taken out of proportion. And by the way, I was in that hotel 2 days later having breakfast, and absolutely it was fine. So there we have it, right? But yeah, like of course it affected our lives. Of course it did. Suddenly everybody was online homeschooling. And so that meant nobody was out and about in the streets. Tourists were absolutely, scared and freaked out, which you would be, because if you don't know a country, you don't know its government and what it will or won't do for you. You only have your own government experience and or lack of without going into too much detail there. So you don't know what to expect and if people are going to care about you as a tourist here. So you get worried and you send pet messages and photos to your family going, oh my God, am I going to die? And, completely over the top. But yes, within 2 weeks, all the tourists had left and managed to get flights out. And then it has become very quiet. And so now the reality, Ian, is that we don't really have many tourists here at all. I'll come back to that. But it is absolutely back to normal in terms of all the schools went back a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. So all of us local expatriates and locals are back. The roads are absolutely packed, no exaggeration. And it's just that we're just missing a slice of our city, which is sad, which is all the tourism. And so, the hotels are really, really quiet in the week. And at the weekends, they're absolutely packed because they're offering amazing deals to us locals. And we all go and, obviously make the most of that. But coming back to, why are the tourists not here? It is essentially actually because of the Foreign Office advice warnings, which I don't think are correct. And what that's meant is that most people can't get travel insurance, right? So if you can't get travel insurance, a lot of people won't take that risk to travel overseas on a holiday with no insurance, which, I understand and I relate to because, I wouldn't travel anywhere in the world without travel insurance. So that element itself, I think, is stopping probably at least 60% of tourists here, sadly. There's obviously an element of tourists that are worried, and I don't want to go there right now in case, there's a missile, which potentially is warranted if, you don't know what to expect. But, for us lot, like we don't, there's no alerts anymore. Apparently there have been a couple of interceptions 3 or 4 days ago, but I didn't hear anything. And life goes on. And even when there were interceptions, sort of from week 2 onwards, and we had an alert message, can I honestly look you in the eye and say that we all ran to cover? No, we got so used to it that we just carried on our lives, which I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And it's safer than probably being on the roads in any city in the world and you're getting into a car accident, quite frankly.
Mm.
So that's where it's at. And, I would say the only other thing about why there's not many tourists now is because, of course, we're now entering the summer months anyway, and it gets really hot. So this is always our quiet season from May to September. So
Right.
what I truly believe is that tourists will be back for the October half term onwards. That's usually when we see tourists. And then I would say by Christmas, I would say we'd probably be not back at 100% where we were for tourism, but I'd say we'd be, if things, carry on like this now and the conflict's finished, then I would say we're probably back to about 70%. So, yeah.
Of course, and you touched upon this earlier when you were describing what's so great about Dubai is the shopping.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, speaking
And
of shopping,
you've
guess.
got the mall, of course, at the bottom of Burj Khalifa, and which is
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
big, isn't it? One of the biggest.
It's the largest mall in the world.
Yeah, I thought it was, and yeah,
Very topical, Ian. Guess what's just opened about 4 hours ago? You probably won't care as a man, but any women watching this, we just opened our third Primark in Dubai today.
I do like
So everyone's
Primark.
everyone's very excited about Primark. So that's literally been opening over the last 4 weeks. So yeah, that's the biggest news in fashion and shopping today, I have to admit. But you're right, we have the largest mall. Our malls are amazing. And like, is it cheaper here to buy clothes than Europe? No, no, definitely not. But it's fun and it's cool and it's AC and there's no litter and there's no homeless and there's no threat of phones being stolen. It's just a really nice experience.
Mm. Let's come back to Lucy, rather than
Okay.
the locations, and talk about one or two of the other activities that you've been involved on. For example, the Uganda orphanage.
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, so basically, I've always had a fascination with wanting to help and work in an orphanage. So, um, I haven't had children yet. I always wanted children. And so I love children. And I remember as a child when we lived in the South Pacific, my mum used to go and work in an orphanage to help out. And I remember she would never let me come with her. I mean, I must have been 3 or 4, so very young. And I just remember her saying, "No, you can't come with me." And I think that obviously stuck. And then I've obviously traveled to third world countries and really seen poverty right there in front of me and always wanted to do something. But financially, I was never in a position. Or so I thought. I mean, we're always better off than half, most of these children out there in the world. But so a couple of years ago, I decided that, I want to get involved and had a connection through Uganda through our real estate brokerage. So I trusted them because you've got to be very careful with charity and orphanages, right? There could be a front door and a back door to something very different we won't go into, but you can imagine. So I'd done all the right due diligence and yeah, found this lovely orphanage run by two amazing girls from the US, both are missionaries, and they live in Uganda permanently, and they've both adopted 2 children each. And so started going there once a year for a week. And I was doing it for myself, for my own fulfillment to help the children. And then because I'm very loud on social media, people started saying, "Oh, how can I help, Lucy? How can I help? How can I get involved?" And I was like, "Oh, okay. Actually, your voice can really, really help those less fortunate and you don't realize it." So then I put out sort of to take people back with me because a lot of people, they don't really know who to get started with and how to arrange a trip like that. And if it's easier if someone else knows everything, right? So I took a couple of people last year with me and a lot of donations from just even my community here in Dubai. And I mean, there's some extremely wealthy people here that were giving me things for the babies. I mean, I'm not joking. Like, you know, Gucci and Ralph Lauren, brand new baby grows and, stuff that is going to like little beautiful babies in Uganda. But they've just not used the clothes or they've used them once and they've given me baby bottles to take. So I've been completely inundated, completely in awe of the kindness of strangers here. And yeah, it's just sort of gone from strength to strength. And then what I wanted to do was, um, you know, when I was when I'm selling real estate, I wanted to give a percentage of what I earn. So it's kind of like buy a house, give a house kind of thing. That's my motto. So, when people are investing in real estate with me, then, they know that a percentage of that will be going towards the children there. And I do want to look at working with other orphanages around the world. I've got a trip planned to Bangladesh later on this year, another new country to cross off my list. And I have a feeling that there might be a lot that I can do in Bangladesh because I know it's one of the poorest countries on the planet. So yes, I'm always open to looking at opportunities. So I mean, anyone watching or listening, if they know of opportunities in orphanages, but I'm very cautious as to who I'm working alongside and who's running the orphanage and what they're actually doing with the funds. So that's another reason, Ian. I had to travel there the first time and experience it for myself. And, day to day, I was living with the girls, seeing what they were doing and how they were running and managing it and, interacting with the children. And it was lovely, really nice. So yeah, that's where we're at.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And yeah, and viewers of this, as Lucy's just mentioned, that please do touch base if you know of an orphanage that could be of interest, shall we say?
Yeah,
I'm thinking
absolutely.
of an alternative term, but I can't. But that would
Yeah,
be the appropriate way
yeah,
of describing that. But also
absolutely.
another thing I noticed about you is coming back to Dubai is water. Water for
Water.
Dubai, water for the workers.
Okay. Tell me more. You mean, oh, on my LinkedIn profile?
Yes.
Ah, yes, okay. So yeah, no, that's interesting. So what happens is every year we have two parts to this, right? So we have Eid that's just coming up. So, for those who are not familiar with the Islamic calendar, obviously we have the 30 days of Ramadan, and at the end of Ramadan, they celebrate with a festival called Eid. And then 60 days after that, they have another Eid. So, there's the first Eid and the second Eid. It's the clearest way to say it to people. So, we're about to enter the second Eid, right? Because Ramadan was way back now. And so what happens is, at this time, especially, and during Ramadan, we sort of acknowledge all the workers on the construction sites, but he's also the workers out gardening and especially in the heat here in Dubai. And, they don't have a lot. Of course, they get fed, but, it's tough for them. So there's an organization where you can go and give your time and you can hand out food and give some money to then give food and meals to the workers and water. And you can actually be part of it. You can either silently donate money or you can go and actually be part of it and handing out water and food. And for some people, they might not want to be like in the forefront of it with everyone there, but I'm very happy to do that. So yeah, I've done that. I haven't done that actually recently, and to be fair, for the last couple of years, but I did it, a couple of years ago, and it was lovely. The faces of the workers, they're really grateful because they probably feel like they're forgotten, and they're up there high building those skyscrapers, and nobody cares about them. But the one thing I have seen about the UAE is more and more. I feel like we really are truly grateful for those who are working hard behind the scenes, and even the guys on the bikes, like everybody has deliveries all the time now, the Kareems and the Ubers, etc., the Uber drivers and the Uber bikers. So we recognize them and we want to
So
give
there is
back.
a focus on human rights and other things there as well.
Oh yeah, very much so. Do you know, like even now, people put out water, like bottles of water at the front of their house. I mean, it's a bit harder here because there's no one that's really walking past my house. But when I lived in an apartment building, we would like in our corridor of apartments, no joke, we'd put out little bottles of water new. Because obviously the delivery drivers are coming into the apartment building to deliver your food at the door. And you'd have a sign saying, please help yourself. And people, it's very normal. People do that all over the city. So it's just really nice. I've never seen that in the UK before. So
Excellent.
yeah.
And there's another gentleman who you've met once or twice. His name is Branson, Richard
Once.
Branson.
Yes, yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, so yeah, so basically when I was growing up, and I mean I'm 51, so it's quite a while ago now, there was really nothing out there. There was certainly no internet and websites about entrepreneurship, and I was brought up in a family where, I had a lovely upbringing, but there were no entrepreneurs around me at all. So if I wasn't curious and reading books and, looking at the media and the newspapers in those days, I wouldn't have known anything different. And I really, really remember Richard Branson because of his book, Losing My Virginity, which I read at, I think I must have been like 17, 18 years of age. And obviously it was all about his journey into, entrepreneurship. And I was always in awe of him. And I followed him and obviously his rise. And then because he loves adventure and travel, that really, stuck with me and related to me. And I said to myself, one day I would love to meet Richard Branson. And it's just quite incredible that it happened. And it just happened. It happened the last year because I went to an event and well, funnily enough, the year before, I love sailing, right? So I was in the British Virgin Islands sailing, and we actually sailed past Necker Island. And I said to the crew on the yacht, I said, can you just get as close as you can to Necker Island? So I want a picture of me on the boat with Necker because I want to visualize that the next time I have a photo like this, I'm going to be on that island. I'm going to meet Richard Branson because you're not allowed to moor up at Necker Island. There's security. It's
That's right.
it's obviously a private island. So, and that was literally not even a year, and I didn't know it yet. I didn't know that within a year I'd be there, right? So then I was at this conference in the March, that was last year, and then we were having a dinner. There was some, highly influential people at that dinner, and I think we were all talking, and everyone was like, "Where are you going next? Or what have you just been doing?" And I said, "Oh, well, I'd love to go sailing actually. Thinking about the BVI again." And someone said, "Oh, well, I'm going on a trip to a very special island in the BVI in a few months' time. Do you know Necker Island?" I said, "Sorry, Necker Island? Yes, I want to go there. Are you going?" And he went, "Yes." He said, "There's actually a group of us going, and we've got a couple of spaces." And I literally was like, "Okay, I'm there." I had no idea what the group was about. I didn't have no idea. I didn't have any clue how much it was going to cost. It wasn't cheap. And I said, sign me up. And literally, that is it, Ian. I was there with a group, and it was a group all about entrepreneurship, and it was all the C-suite of the Virgin Group that were flown in with Richard there. Obviously, it's his island where his residence. And yeah, it was 5 days, 8 to 8 at night with dinners every night. And Richard spoke about his journey, his life, how he built his businesses. He had his head of marketing there, he had his head of strategy there. He had his head of cruise ships there because obviously the Virgin cruise ships are very popular. And I also got a chance, didn't realize sadly that she wouldn't be here a few months later, but I had a couple of hours sitting with the lovely Joan, who's now sadly passed away. Her and I were sat sipping champagne for a couple of hours by the pool, talking about life. And, I asked her, how is it her and Richard are together after 50 years? So she was telling me all about your soulmate. And it was an incredible week. I got to play tennis with Richard. It's very relaxed. It's his island. He walks around bare feet. He's very relaxed, Ian. And, this is a man that has everything and can do anything he wants. And what I noticed was his main focus, and I think he's 76 now, his main focus is all about health. So everything he does is about his health. So, every day he's up at 6 a.m. and he has a top professional tennis coach who lives permanently on the island. He plays tennis with her from 6 to 8 a.m. every day without fail, right? Every day. So he's a very good tennis player. He then plays chess. I think there must be a chessboard in about 25 different locations around the
I
island, big,
I
small.
love playing chess, and that's
Yeah.
it's one of my
Yeah.
yearnings is to actually play with him on that. So
Oh yeah. So I
Mm,
didn't get to play chess, but we did get to stand and watch him playing with someone. But he's very, very serious about his chess. And of course, it's great for your mind, keeping yourself active as you get older. And then he mountain bikes on the next island, Virgin Gorda, about twice a week. And honestly, like I didn't even go on that trip because I knew I would be able to handle it. And there's a 76-year-old man who goes up this steep hill twice a week. And I think he does like, I don't know, 10, 12 miles, but a really steep gradient, mountain biking. And then, as if that's not enough, he kite surfs, right? And he
mm,
doesn't just kite surf out like, there by the island for 20 minutes. He kite surfs for 3 to 4 hours between islands. I'm
mm.
not joking. This is a 76-year-old, and kite surfing is really, really strenuous on your upper body. Um, so I mean, he keeps completely healthy and fit. He's got a beautiful home. He's got like lemurs on the island. He drives around in a buggy barefoot. Just such a really nice experience. He's got pools everywhere and bars everywhere on the pools, but beautiful swimming pools like in different locations. He's got the
It's a
great
it's a
house.
paradise, basically, isn't it?
It is a
The
paradise. Like he's
Yeah.
literally created his dream island, and
Mm.
it was a really lovely. We went sailing one day. It was a lovely experience, and I got to talk to him, and he was at the bar there. He doesn't drink a lot actually, and yeah, just a lovely,
Mm.
lovely guy, and just I was very in awe of being there actually because it's like something I'd wanted to meet him all my life. So yeah,
Well, there you go.
there we go. So anything's possible if you visualize it.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
We're coming to an end now, Lucy. I would imagine that quite a few people will be very interested in connecting with you in some way, whether it
Absolutely.
be to talk about UAE or whether it's
Yeah.
talking about you or whatever the case may be, and of course, orphanages.
Yeah.
What's the best route to connect with you?
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a couple of ways. I'm on LinkedIn. So Lucy J. Parker, Lucy Parker, I think on LinkedIn. I have a YouTube channel for real estate. So if you want to learn more about, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, then it's Lucy J.
Yes,
Parker.
I was going to ask you about that, and
Yeah,
I'm glad you
sure.
reminded me. Your social media, you mentioned social media earlier,
Yeah.
actually. Can you just touch upon what you are doing on YouTube and other social media?
Yeah, sure. So, actually, like I've always loved presenting and being on camera, to be fair. And then, of course, with YouTube, it's so easy to do that these days. So, in 2019, I decided to start a YouTube channel because a year previously, I'd done a video live on LinkedIn, and we're talking like 2017, so not now. And in 2017, I got 199,000 views in a week on a penthouse that I had in New York in the 157 building on Central Park. So then I was like, whoa, okay, I need to do something serious about videos because I can get people watching my videos. So started a YouTube channel, was just walking around communities on the Palm, sharing, knowledge and talking to you on a video as if you're my client next to me walking alongside, right? And it's just taken off. And, 7 years on, my YouTube channel's going from strength to strength. All of my clients who do end up investing here find me on YouTube because, when you do a Google search, the most powerful search comes straight to video. And I think I've actually done more videos of Dubai than anyone else. I think I've got over 800 videos or like 850 videos. So you'll naturally see Lucy J. Parker come up quite high up. And then people get in touch with me because I'm not very technical, Ian. So when I do a video, I'm not joking. I hold my phone, I press start, and I literally just walk and talk and show people on the camera houses, communities, where they should live, etc. And I think people like that because I don't edit it. I don't perfect it. It is me. And when you actually then meet me and you go and see properties, you're getting the same person that you're getting on that video. I can't
The
perfect
real
myself.
thing, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Mm,
that's what
mm,
people want because when you're buying a property from overseas and you know nothing about the UAE, the most important thing is that you're going to trust that person
mm.
implicitly. It's the most important thing. I'd be the same. So yeah. So it
So,
works.
so, so there you go, viewers. Look up Lucy on YouTube if
Lucy
you
J.
haven't done
Parker.
so already, and
Yeah.
subscribe
Yeah.
and do whatever else you do on YouTube. But you mentioned LinkedIn as well, of course.
Yeah.
Um,
And then WhatsApp. I mean, look, I can give you my number. I don't know if you want to share it somewhere, Ian. You've got my number, but
Well,
I will just say,
people can connect with myself on perhaps LinkedIn as well,
yeah,
and I can
yeah.
give that detail out afterwards with your agreement. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, look, my number is on all of my videos of YouTube. There's a link. So under the YouTube videos, everyone, there's a description. You press a link and it comes directly to my WhatsApp. So
oh, there you go.
it's very
Yeah.
easy to
Mm.
find me. I have put my number everywhere. It's on LinkedIn if you just scroll down my bio. So, I'm contactable. Of course, you have to be in real estate. So yeah, happy to
One
help.
quick
Happy to chat.
question: What's
Sure.
the future? What's the future for Lucy, and what's the future for you being in Dubai?
So the future for Lucy is for now, I'm very happy in the UAE. I don't see home being anywhere except here. I mean, I'll never live back in the UK. But I don't know I'll be here forever. It would depend on personal circumstances as well. Um, in terms of business, I'm, very fascinated and curious about AI. So starting to integrate that more and more into my business so I can give more of a seamless experience to my clients without it being fake. I truly believe that I'm not going to be replaced by AI anytime soon. But I'm also not ignorant and naive. I'm not here saying, "Oh, it's never gonna, get in the way of my job." I think it'll just look different in real estate. And then of course, I'm on my mission to see every country in the world, Ian. So I'm at country 86. I need to get to country
86. Well,
197. So there's quite a few. So if there's any travelers out there who have some amazing ideas or off the beaten track tours, get in touch with me. I'm fascinated to talk to people about travel. Yeah.
Lucy, it's been a great conversation. Thank you very much for your
Not
time.
at
And
all. Thank you so much, Ian. It's lovely chatting with you. And obviously, I'd like to ask you lots of questions about you, but another time.
another time, maybe. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But thank you very much. And viewers, this will be up on LinkedIn, it will be up on SoundCloud, it will be up on the Infusion 55 YouTube channel. It will also be up on Spotify, not immediately, but over the next couple of weeks as well, because we're just setting up Spotify. But as I say, thank you so much, Lucy, for this. It's been great. And look forward to having further conversations. And
Thank
if
you,
anybody
Ian.
needs to
Well,
contact Lucy, other than through the ways that she mentioned a few minutes ago, you can also, of course, connect with myself through LinkedIn or through my email, ian@infusion5-5.com. Thank you very much and see you next time.
thank you.